full stabilization when you filter it. You do all of those things. Like there's technique. And with cheese making, there's technique too. When we look at a fresh lactic cheese like the first one, okay, not much technique to it. You just wait and then you know, it's ready. Right? But when you're looking at this cheese, okay, the Lost Lake, now there is a technique. Now this one's just young, but it has to be just the right consistency to develop the right rind. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get what is fairly a regressive mold called geotrichinin to come on the outside of here. And geotrichinin is a different mold because you see on these two cheeses, thicker mold.
Yeah.
That's P. candidum, Penicillium candidum. That's much more aggressive, much thicker mold. It just completely coats the cheese. This one's very light. Okay? Yeah. So you make a very light, fluffy cheese, and you want to get the geotrichinin on it. So now try the try the cheese.
Oh, cheese is really good.
Smooth.
And it's still.
It doesn't interrupt at all.
And try the wine again. Watch what happens to it. See what lift it gave the wine?
Wow.
Full of fruit and richness. And at the same time, the cheese comes across as really creamy. And, you know, like, but on their own, they're both good. But together, dynamite. And that's what you're looking for. So when you look at these types of cheeses, like the surface ripened cheese that's fairly young, it still has a lot of its primary flavors, as does this wine. It's still built around fruit, you know, but it still has some secondary flavors. It has a little complexity, you know, a little bit of vinosity to it. It has a little bit of oak actually in that particular Pinot Gris, which is unusual. And then with the cheese, you know, you've got the development of the mold, you've got the complexity near the rind that starts to develop. Now as that cheese ripens, because these are natural molds, as it ripens, what will happen is the cheese will start to liquefy a little bit around the rind and get a little more dense in the middle. So when that happens, your wine choices change. Now you're going to go to Chardonnay. At the extreme end, you'll go to Pinot.
That's amazing because I find those two cheeses would be very similar, and I'd pair the same kind of wine to them. I would never think that.
Yeah, because they make it different.
Yeah, and the first one really doesn't go with wine at all, but the second one does.
So as it ripens, you would switch to Chardonnay because it's a little bit buttery. Like the cheese itself gets a little richer, a little more
texture.
buttery.
Yeah, it's a texture balance. The other thing is what you're going to do is you're going to realize that the flavors are going to change.
Yeah.
They get much more earthy.
So then
you get mushroom flavors and things like that.
Then the Pinot later on, as it starts to get a little more muskier.
It even gets more developed.
Okay.
Yeah. But what happens is you get a nice minerality, which happens in all our cheeses, which is really because of the milk and where it comes from, because it's all they eat local feed, right? It's all limestone in the soil, so that's in the grapes. Right? You know, that's part of the terroir. Well, we have the terroir in the cheese too. And we're about the only people that do that because we insisted on point of origin. See, it's one thing to say the animal